The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Pairin Srisom. Chapter 26. Lost in the Cave. Now to return to the chair of Tom and Becky in the picnic. They danced along the passage with the rest of the children, visiting the familiar wonders of the cave, such as Aladdin's palace and the castle hall. When the game of the hide and seek began, Tom and Becky played until they lost interest in it. Then they wandered down winding passages, holding their candles up the reading the network of names, dates, and addresses done in candle smoke on the rocky walls. They went on and on, smoked their own names under an overhanging shade and poses. Presently they came to a place where a little stream of water had drawn out the contrary, formed an filmy waterfall in the sparkling stone. Tom pressed his small body behind it to light it up for Becky, and found that it hid a sort of slave nature stairway across between narrow walls, at once ambition to be a discoverer seized him. They made a smoke mark for the future guests, and would this way and that, far down into the depth of the cave. In one place, they found a white hall, from the roof of which hung a great number of shrinking white pillars of stone. After wandering and admiring, they left it by one of the numerous passages that opened into it. This soon brought them to a lovely spring, the basins of which seemed to be discovered with sparkling diamonds. It was in the midst of the cave, where great columns rose from the floor to meet theirs from the roof. Some had already joined. The children marveled at this research of the crashless water cliff of the century. Under the roof brass had packed themselves together, thousands in a batch, and they came flocking down in hundreds, rushing folly at the candles. Tom seized Becky's hand and hurried her into the first place. They came to, and turning into every new passage they met, they at last got light of the troublesome creatures. Then Tom found an underground lake, which stretched away until itself was lost in the shadows. He wanted to explore its borders, but decided that it would be best to sit down and rest for a time. Now, for the first time, the stillness of the place laid its damp and cold hand upon the minds of the children. "I wonder how long we have been down here, Tom," said Becky. "We would better go back." "Yes, I think we would better. Can you find the way, Tom? It's all mixed up with me." "I think I can find it, but the best, if they put off both our candles, we will be an awful difficulty. Let's try some other way." They started up along a passage, looking at each new opening to see if there was anything familiar about it, but They were all stacked. "Oh, Tom, never mind the bed," said Becky at last. "Let's go back to way. We seem to get worse and worse all at once." "Listen," said he. The silence was so deep that even their own breathing seemed loud. Tom shook. The sound went echoing down the empty. It went and died off in the distance in the faint sound that was just like mocking louder. "Oh, don't do it again. Tom is too hurried," said Becky. "It is hurried, but I would better, Becky. They might hear us, you know." And he shuddered again. The might was even a greater horror than a godly laughter. It confessed that hope was dying. They listened, but there was no result. Tom turned back, but soon a certain decision in his manner revealed another fearful fact to Becky. He could not find his way back. "Oh, Tom, you didn't make any marks." "Becky, I was a fool. No, I can't find the way. It's all mixed up." Tom, we are lost. We are lost. We can never get out of this awful place. Oh, why did we leave the others?" She sank to the ground and burst into such a dreadful storm of tears that Tom felt that she might go mad. When her weeping became a little less violent, he begged her not to give up hope. Then he began blaming himself. She told him not to talk like that again, for she was as much to blame as he was, she said. So they moved on, aimlessly, for all they could do was to keep moving. After a time, Tom took Bunky's candle and blew it out. Words were not needed. She knew that Tom had a rough candle and 3 or 4 pieces in his pocket. Yet he must use as little as possible. Then the children began to feel weary, but they tried to pay no attention. Moving was at last progress and might have a good result, but sit down was the invited certain death. At last Bucky sprayed. Limbs refused to carry her any farther. They sat down. They talked of home, of the faint air, and, above all, of the sunlight. Weariness waiting so heavily on Becky that she fell asleep, and Tom was grateful. He set lost in thought of happier times. When Becky woke up, she gave a gay little laugh, but she stopped it sadly, and a groan followed. "Oh, how could I sleep? I wish I had never woke." No, Tom, don't look so. I won't say that again." They rose and wandered along, hand in hand and hopeless. A long time after this Tom said that they must go quietly and listen for dripping water, because they must find a spring. They found one, and Tom said that they must rest again. Both were coldly tired. Yes, Bunky told that she could go on a little farther. She was surprised to hear Tom disagree. Nothing was said for some time. Then Bunky broke the silence. "Tom, I'm so hungry." Tom took a big cake from his pocket and divided it, and Becky ate with good appetite. Tom pretended to eat his share. There was omelet of cold water with which to finish the food. Soon Becky suggested that they should move on again. Tom was silent, and then he said, "Becky, we must stay here, where there's water to drink. This little price of candle is our last." Becky cried again. At length she said, "Tom, well, Becky, they will miss us and search for us. Perhaps they are searching for us now. Why, of course they are. When would they miss us, Tom?" "When Trot got back to the boat, I suppose." "Tom, it might have been dark then. Would they know that we haven't come?" "I don't know. Anyway, your mother would miss you as soon as they all got home." A faint look at the Brocky face made Tom remember she was not to have gone home that night. The Sunday morning might be half spent before Mr. Thatcher discovered that Becky was not at Mr. Harper's. In a moment, a new burst of grief from Becky showed Tom that the door in the mine had struck his also. The children fastened their eyes up on the bit of candle and watched it melt slowly and pitilessly away. They saw the little flame rise and fall, and then suddenly the horror of utter darkness enveloped them. How long afterwards it was that Becky woke to find herself crying in Tom's arms. In a good tale, Tom said that it might be Sunday, or perhaps Monday. The house cried by again. The captives felt faint in hunger. Tom shared the cake, was divided and eaten, but it seemed to leave them hungrier than before. Presently Tom said, "She, did you hear it?" Both held their breath and listened. There was a shout like the faintest far off sound. Instantly Tom answered it. Again shout was here, and apparently a little nearer. "They are coming. Come along, Becky. We are all right now." The joy of the prisoners was almost unbearable. Their speech was slow, however, because speech were rather common, and had to be guarded against. They soon came to one. Tom lay fast and sat down, but he could not thrust through the bottom. It might be 3 feet deep, it might be 100. They must stay there until the searchers came. They listened. The distant shouting were growing more distant. A moment or two more, and they had gone altogether. The heart-breaking misery of it. Tom shouted until his throat ached, but it was of no use. He talked hopefully to Becky, but a long time passed and no sound came. The children felt their way back to the spring. The time dragged on. They slept again, and awoke hungry and miserable. Now Tom had an idea. It would be better to explore some of the side passages than to remain idle. He took his knife string from his pocket, tried one edge to a big stone, and started with Becky. unwinding the line as they crawled along. At the end of 20 steps, the passage ended in a pit. Tom fell below and then as far round the corner as he could. At that moment, a hand holding a candle appeared from behind a rock. Tom gave a great shout, and instantly that hand was followed by the body it belonged to Reskin Joe. Tom was turned to stone. To his immense delight, the Spaniard fell. Tom told Bucky that he had already shot for the log, and they crept back to spring. But hunger and misery after a time make a focus once fierce, another worrisome, and another long slept both shanks. The children awoke sick with hunger. Tom believed that it must be Wednesday or Tuesday, or even Friday or Saturday now. He proposed to explore another passage. He felt willing to rise Reskin Joe and or other terrors, but Maggie was so vague that she could not be laughed. She said that she could wait now where she was and die. It would not be long. She told Tom explore if he should, but she begged him to come back from time to time and speak to her. She made him promise that when her last hour came, he would stay by her and hold her hand until all was over. With a lump in his throat, Tom pretended to be confident of finding the chasers or a way out of the cave, and with the next spring in his hand went crawling down one of the passages, sick with hunger and sorrow and visions of their coming fast.